So, good evening, everybody. This is my second video on humility. Would be episode part two, and there will be actually a series that I will be doing, probably about 7 or 8. So tune in because everyone likes series. Nobody just likes a single video. So that's what I'm going to do. So let's recap on what was our first video. I'm not going to make this video too long like last time, guys, because I want you guys to just get the gist of it. Not to get all the details. It's important to get the gist at the same time the foundation, so the principles and the standards of how this works and what happens. So we always think about ourselves, like pride is such a prevalent thing. In fact, you guys may even be against me on this, stand up for what you think is right, or choose your own ways, or follow your own heart, or chase your own dreams. I used to think like that, and but it's different for me now. Like as I said in the last video, I did give my life to Christ, and it became a one-way relationship where it was just so beautiful that it's forever my thing now. I'll never turn away from Christ ever. He never turned away from me, and He's taught me to humble myself. And so that's what we're going to be following up on. At the same time, I'm going to finish recapping on the first video. Okay, so there has been so much self confidence. I don't want to say this wrong. I'm trying to say this right. I need to be careful. But self-confidence makes this world not better than it needs to be. It puts people out of the influence of ourselves into a state that says, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't rely on myself. It's too hard. I need something or someone to look up to. I need something to grab onto. Now, on the other hand, for some people may have the ability to get up on their own feet and do it, of course. But for others, it's hard for them, or they choose not to put in the effort, so they call to something higher, like an elder, or someone they would know real well, per se, or maybe a movie star or a legend. For me, it's God. It's Christ, because He gets me through everything. So, we look up to people. I look up to God. I look up to my uncle, but I look up to God first. So, self-confidence is very prevalent. In fact, it's actually everywhere. There's nowhere a place where you won't see self-confidence. But there's one thing that I want to touch up on that before we get into the second half series of um, becoming humble the way that Christ did. Christ is. So, first thing is first. Before we can even get to the point of how Jesus walked and how He became humble, He humbled Himself, we need to look inside of our own hearts and see how we can become humble. In order for us to even start on humility, we must zero out everything and look into ourselves. We look into our hearts and we see what is in it. If you're not a Christian, it's somewhat hard to do because you think that everything in your heart is okay, and some things maybe not. God takes everything impure out of your heart when you ask Him to search your heart and see if there's any wicked way in you. And He removes it when you want it, and it's a refreshing. It's like a refresher. When you plug it into the wall, it puts fresh air, and it smells real good. That's with God. When you get on your knees and say, God, I take everything away from you. I want nothing but you. You feel like this air freshener in the Spirit come up, and it just touches your heart, and it feels so good. It smells good. And that's the aroma of God, and He loves you. So we must look at ourselves first before others in order to become humble. Secondly, we need to realize that on our own strength, we may be able to get through life, but we will not be able to make it to heaven on our own. It just doesn't work like that. So, and the third thing is we try to get over our head thinking that, oh, I got this and that, I'm arrogant. We must have that removed from our heart. We must have self-pride removed. we must have self-interest, selfishness removed in order to become humble. Those are the pinnacles and the foundations of pride. Jesus was the opposite. And I know you may be thinking, well, what? Well, Jesus was a freak. He was an idiot. He was just a man who lived. Well, yeah, he was a man who lived on this earth. You're right. But he was a son of God, and he is a son of God. And he humbled himself. And we're going to be reading straight from about 3 verses, and then we're going to end the video because I don't want to make it too long for you guys. So we're going to start off on, actually, let's read where we were first. So verse 3, let no thing be done through strife, arguing, or vainglory, selfishness. But in lowliness means humility. But in humility of mind, let each highly respect others better than themselves. And then, look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. So we must be focusing on others before we focus on ourselves. That's how you become humble. To remove pride, you need to look inside your own self and ask God to remove it. Or if there's an alternate way you can do that, go ahead. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. So what Jesus is saying is, or what Paul is saying is that we are to have the mind of Christ. Well, some people say, well, I can't be like Christ. He's perfect. Oh, we're not intended to be like that. Well, that's not what the word says. So the word says that we are to conform to his image. We are to have his mindset. And this is not a 24-hour thing, like I said in the last video. It's not a week process. It's not a month. It's years. Some people it is. Some people it may take months. Just depends on how quick you pick up on things and your heart and your interest. Okay, and this is where we're going to start. Who, being in the form of God, so he was God in the beginning. A lot of people don't believe that. It's okay if you disagree with me. Thought it not robbery to be equal with God. So he already was equal with God, so he didn't need to rob God at all. He wasn't robbing him of his equality. He was already equal. But he made himself, this is so key, but made himself of no reputation. He emptied himself. He said, nope, I'm coming to this earth. I don't want anybody to say, to try and lift me up. I don't want to be lifted up. I just want to please my Father and do his will. It's the Son of God, equal with God. He made himself of no reputation. He basically emptied his whole identity. I just came to earth to obey what God said. And took upon him the form of a servant. A servant is somebody who does what they're told. Or a servant is somebody who does something with a willing heart when somebody needs help, needs them to assist them. If that's one, right. And was made in the likeness of men. So he became a man on purpose so that people could see him as we are, flesh and blood. And he was perfect, though. He is perfect. Last verse, and then we're going to end it. And being found in fashion as a man, so people fashion as a man, they notice him as a man, he humbled himself. What does humbled mean? Let's amplify this. Humble means to lower yourself above everyone else, to look upon others before yourselves, to say, this is not by my own power, but by God's. If you're a Christian, perfect. If not, totally fine. Just whatever makes you humble, pursue it. But I'm telling you this, Christ is the one that can truly humble you. He humbled himself, so what I just told you, and became obedient unto death. So he basically, even the death of a cross. So Jesus obeyed what God told him. He said, I want you to come to this earth to serve and give your life a ransom for many so people can have a way to come to you, to be forgiven, to come back to you, to have eternal life, to have a relationship, and to go and proclaim his name throughout the world. That's why Jesus died, so that we can have a relationship with him, so that we can live and walk and breathe and talk with him every day of our life. Beautiful, beautiful, so beautiful. And he died on a cross for us. So this is true humility. In John 15, it says, there is no greater love than this, that a man would lay down his life for his own friend. That's beautiful, guys. And I'm going to end this video now, but I just have a few things. I'm nothing, guys. Look at me and say, I'm not over holy. I'm nothing without God. Literally, I can do nothing of my own strength. So I want you to look at me, and I want you to say, this kid is just a man like me. And if he can do it, so can I. Look at me and say, I'm dust to God. God is the light that shines through me. So I'm giving all the glory to him through this. Guys, I really hope that you got something out of this. Remember, humility takes a process. It is not a days, works, weeks, months thing. Everyone's different. But remember, No, however much you want to pursue humility, it's found only in Christ truly. Grace and peace, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.